Hey, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Duo Group Ironman. Today, I will be fletching, and probably tomorrow and the next day and the next day because of the fletching minigame, which I have not grinded out yet. I did maybe like 10-15 minutes of it for when I was making one of those game update videos, but I haven't really grinded it. And the main thing I was waiting for was for a plugin to come out. And as of today, which is 4 days after the release of this minigame, there is now a plugin for it called Totem Fletching. And it's not like it would have been a big detriment to do the minigame without it, especially because I think getting the collection log done only takes a few hours. But I'm planning on going beyond just completing the collection log, and if you're going to do this for dozens and dozens of hours, I mean, I don't know how long I'll do it for, but probably at least a dozen hours, you may as well have waited for the plugin to come out, because at least I did not have any rush to get these items as fast as possible. Because this is going to be a fletching based video, we're going to reset the XP for fletching and keep track of that. And also I reset the construction XP tracker because you do gain a little bit of construction XP doing the minigame. Here's how the Vale Totems work though. There's 8 totems around the Auburn Vale area, and you go in a loop going between all the totems. And once you've gone to them once or twice, it's pretty easy to know how to get to them. Because I don't know if the plugin is gonna like give you the path to get there. But as you can see, the plugin has already, I had these highlighted from before, I guess I can unmark them. The plugin is highlighting where to click for the totem site, as well as the number. So you click on the totem, and you have to select the 3 animals that you see around the area, which very conveniently, the plugin is highlighting which 3 animals are in the area. And it says even the hotkeys on the totem itself of which ones to click, and it highlights them right here in the chat box of which ones to click as well. You use 1 log to initially build the totem, and then on top of that, you need 4 of an item. You can use unstrung bows, strung bows, shields, these redwood staves work too. Then you just click on the totem, it'll add all 4 of them. But from here, we're gonna move on to the next totem. You can see there's an icon on the mini map. There's a couple of shortcuts as well between them. They're both level 45. This log balance and this log balance, both 45 agility. And ideally what you'd wanna do is as you're running, you would be cutting your unstrung bows or your redwood staves if you don't already have some in the bank that you were bringing with you. Oh yeah, and there's these 2, these ent trails. If you step on both of them, it makes that ent leave double offerings at the next totem it visits. Here I'm going to click on there, choose option 1, 2, 4. Click it to add the redwood staves. The ent will come by and leave some offerings. And I think you can, I guess maybe we'll find out later on, but I think you could stack up those offerings so you don't even have to collect them every time if you don't want to. It's so nice the plugin highlights these entrails because you do want to try to step on them on your way to the next totem. I just finished my round of doing all 8 totems. You end up back at the bank. It is very nice to have the log basket so that way you're able to do the full run of all 8 totems without having to stop at the bank, because there is another bank. You could stop by this one if you don't have the log basket. We're gonna do some menu entry swapper here. I have the redwood set to left click 5 for my birdhouse runs, but for this video at least, we'll switch it to left click withdraw all. I've also got the log basket set to left click empty, so I can easily empty when I'm doing my run. And you know, I have the stack of 200k redwood logs. It's so sad because after I get done with this grinding session, if I spend a few days doing it, I'm at almost 201k, but that is going to be well below 200k after these next few days. And it's so sad because I love looking at the 200k, but it's worth it, right? To get the fletching XP. I'm going to get a screenshot at least because I'll probably want it for the thumbnail. There's a mechanic where the higher tier of log you use to build the totem, the longer the totem lasts for. If you're doing a full loop of all 8 of the totems, by the time you circle back around, you should be able to immediately build the totem again for every tier except redwood. If using redwoods, those totems last a little bit longer than the time it would take you to loop around, and I kind of like that because it makes me feel like I can be a little less efficient or focused and not feel bad about that. If I take 30 seconds to type on Discord or switch YouTube tabs, it's not as detrimental to the XP rates, or I can go a little bit extra out of the way to stand on the entrails and not really be losing out on any time. I guess it's also like a tool for Jagex to cap out the XP rate of the activity itself for redwood logs. But of course you can do other things along with the activity like alking or making broad arrows. For the ent trails, it says it gives you double the amount of offerings on the next activated totem it visits, as well as 15% increased XP from totem carving on the next totem built. Okay, so I found the answer for how many offerings you could stack up on here before you're forced to claim them. According to the wiki, it is 15,000. That's crazy. Someone had the patience to leave 15,000 offerings on one. I guess it's like I guess it makes sense because it's inefficient to collect them, right? Because you lose ticks, so you may as well wait until you get to that 15k cap, unless you don't have the collection log done, specifically the fletching knife, because the fletching knife is like the one item out of these that can somewhat help speed up or be like a quality of life item for doing the minigame itself, which also means that I shouldn't be stacking up these offerings right now. I should just open them as I go, but I'm gonna stack up a little bit just for the sake of the video and open a bunch at once and hope I get the fletching knife at the very least. It has now been about 1 hour of doing this activity. Let me pause the XP trackers. They did originally say in the post when this came out that this is what the XP rates would be that you would expect, and for Redwood it says 300 to 350k XP per hour, and in my 1 hour test of doing this I got 326k XP, so it is like very exactly perfect. And then for the construction XP, I got about 8,000 construction XP as well, which is a nice little bonus. At the start of the hour, I had about 1,700 offerings in my inventory, and after the hour, I have over 10k, so it was about like 8,000 offerings in the 1 hour test. And these offerings have a rummage option, which is searching them for loot. 100 offerings is one search, or you can do hasty rummage, which just does it 5 times faster, so you'll open 500 at a time, which is 5 offering loot rolls. And for each search that you do, so every 100 offerings, you get 1 reward point, or they're called Vale research points. So right now I'm at 3, and you'll see if I open 1, which is 100, I will now have 4 research points. So let's go ahead and I'll just hasty rummage through all these. We'll see a bunch of loot that we're going to get, the bale of flax, and we'll just let it open and see if I get any of the new uniques. I am going to have to bank actually. Oh, it's not tracking it on the loot tracker though. It's kind of sad. I was hoping that they would all be on there. Oh, wait, if you open them 1 at a time, it's showing up, but not when you do 5 at a time. Interesting. I'm just gonna let it go 1 at a time because I do want it to all show up in the loot tracker. This guy next to me is getting all the drops, the fletching knife, the bowstring spool, a couple of them. Where's my drops at? I opened them all up. No fletching knife though. But at the very least, I do get those Vale research points. So at this point I have 104 of them. And it's like a nice dry protection if you do get unlucky. If you don't end up getting the items from the Vale offerings, then you can at least buy it with the Vale research points. I don't have to worry about run energy at all because every time you build a totem, it restores it. I don't know exactly by how much, but at least for me, it's the point where I do not have to worry about run energy at all. There's also these random obstacles around that you can admire, like right here there's a log or a rock, and you can admire it, and if an ent comes by and admires it the same time you are, it restores 20% run, but I don't think it's something most people will have to worry about. The wiki has a really cool tool for figuring out a bunch of different info in terms of like the cost, how many Vale offerings you get per, how many research points you get each, for like every single thing that you can use. There's like the short bows, the long bows, the unstrung version, the strung version, the redwood shield, the hiking staff. It's very cool. And up here it was saying that there is a way to get 420k fletching XP per hour, which is if you're bringing magic logs and the spool with you, and if you make the magic longbows and string them as you go and use those complete magic longbows for the activity, you can get some pretty sick XP. But yeah, as we're starting off the video, I forgot to show the fletching XP I started at, but it was about 15 mil fletching XP. I have no idea how long I'll be doing this for or how much XP I'll end up at, but we'll see how much I do end up at. I got 8k offerings total for my 1 hour, so... Oh, I didn't think about this before, but I guess that means it would have been 1k per totem, so you could stack them up for 15 hours then. The stack of redwoods just went below 200k. Now I am sad. New pets. Oh, that's the new pet. Whoa, that's sick. It's my first time seeing it in game. About to get the first virtual fletching level of the video. 101. No, I've never done that before. I just built the wrong thing. I don't know what happens if I do that. I just get less XP. Oh yeah, that is noticeably less XP for... That's my first time it's happened. That was like almost 200 less XP per thing I put on there. Yeah, I guess I should start picking these up from the ground since now there's like 4k plus on every pile, so... I'll do 1 lap around, I'll collect all these, and then we'll do an opening. 34k Vale offerings to open here. I do still have to do it 1 at a time because the loot tracker's not tracking, but let's see if we get the knife this time. Hey, there's the first thing, the bowstring spool. First collection log, or I guess that's my second collection log slot now. Where knife though? Oh, another one, the green min mask. Epic. Hey, there it is. Oh wait, no, never mind. I was thinking, I just saw it. Wait, no, it's not. There's a third bowstring spool. Oh, another. Every time I see the red text, I'm like, oh, is that the knife? It's never the knife though. Okay, last search, no knife. But I got the research points to be able to buy it from the shop, so let's go do that. Thanks to the dry protection, I can just buy it from the shop. I have 444 points. It costs 350. Let's go ahead, buy one. I assume that's gonna fill the collection log for it too, right? Yeah, new item added to the log. The fletching knife. Wait, is that green log? Yes, I have a green log now. Still gonna keep on doing the minigame for quite a while longer. Yeah, it does have a wheeled option, although when you have it wielded, you can't use it, I don't think. There's no... Yeah, you have to have it in your inventory. Oh, it's a shield slot item too. The left click by default is used though. I don't think I'd ever need a regular knife for anything anymore, right? So because of this fletching knife, I have permanently freed up a bank slot, except not really, because I'm just replacing it with another thing. The main perk of the fletching knife is that it speeds up fletching actions by 1 tick. I believe normally fletching things is 3 ticks, but with the fletching knife, if you're using that, it turns it into a 2-tick action for, I think, for the majority of these. Although when you start the fletching action, the first item is still the normal amount of time, so 3 ticks, which I assume is a way for them to prevent people from being able to tick manipulate with the knife. It is storable in the POH in the costume room, and here's all the things that you could use it on, all the things that you'd expect, but also for the Bruma roots in Winter Toad, it will speed those up, as well as the Vale Totems, so creating the totems during this fletching minigame, that is sped up as well. The wiki now shows this as being 1 out of 333. I think it's the estimated drop rate as of the time I'm recording this. The drop rates have not officially been released. Let's see, the fast fletching. Oh, it's so fast. It's fletching so fast. I also heard, besides for speeding up the fletching by 1 tick, it also does like the spirit animal action 1 tick faster. Is that right? Is that faster? I can't tell. Is that supposed to be faster? I don't know. Do you have any tips for breaking a dry streak? I tried complaining, but it hasn't worked. I'd recommend opening up an OBS to at least trick the game into thinking that you're a YouTuber / streamer. You don't actually have to go live. You can actually do a like a test live stream where you're not actually streaming to any platform, but it's just like test your connection. It's like enabled test bandwidth mode. And so you may be able to trick the game into thinking that you're a streamer or YouTuber. Pretty solid day, as you could see, over the long term, being very distracted by the stream. It did come down a little bit from like the 330k or whatever I was getting before. Over the long term, I guess it ends up being closer to 300k XP per hour with the redwood staves. Ooh, a dragon impling. Wait, can I catch that? Yeah, what did we get? Wow. Who knew Vale Totems could be so profitable? I'm looking at Temple OSRS for duo, group, Ironman, individual players. And when I started the video, I had like 14.9 mil XP, so I was probably around rank 30, And I was curious, what is rank 1? So I had to look on here, and rank 1 duo individual GIM has 29 mil XP. That'd be a lot of XP to gain in this video. I don't know if I'm gonna go for rank 1, but I do want to try to like see how high of a rank I can get as an individual, maybe even as a team too, because if I had 30 mil XP, that would also like put us around rank 1, because Spookdog of course has at least 13 mil fletching XP. So we'll check in with this again near the end of the video and see how far we made it up on here. We got another virtual level, 102. Fletching is so fast, man. I wanted to try fletching headless arrows while I'm doing this, and I noticed a thing after I do my headless arrows and then I go back to making the redwood hiking staves. The default space action then moves over to arrow shafts. And so I was running around making redwood staves and I was like, where's all the staves at? My inventory is empty, and I realized I was making arrow shafts out of the logs. I can also do these random events and not have to feel as bad because of the redwood whole totem timer thing. Wait, another dragon impling. Is there like a high level impling spawn around here or something? I got my run a little bit extra low because I wanted to show, I think it's 16 run that it restores for building the totem. I was just thinking about how cool this minigame is, that it's just out there in the open world. It's not instanced, it's not thrown into its own separate little section. You're just running around and you see people doing various activities, whether they're doing forestry or making planks or doing some bank standing skills. You just see people all over the place and it makes the world feel more alive. So I've been watching some guides and things are starting to make more sense. Do you see when I build a totem, it has these leaves on here? When an ent comes by, it takes one leaf off of this little tree thing. Here you can see an ent has come by, it's taken a leaf off. And when it gets to 0, then that's when the totem gets destroyed. You can see the redwoods have 7 visits for the ents, whereas if you use lower tier logs, it has a lower amount of visits. Which is why with redwoods specifically, they're the only tier of log where if you're doing all 8 totems, there does end up being a little bit of waiting around. Whereas I think if you use magics, you're never gonna have to wait around if you use all 8 of the totems. In fact, if you use maple, you can actually get away with this separate loop of only using 5 of the totems that ends up being slightly faster. Especially for redwoods, you don't really want to take the shortcut because you have so much extra time. And the ents, they leave the trail behind them. The ents don't take the shortcut. So when they leave the trails, the ent trails you want to step on, if you go around the long way through that bridge and through that bridge, you're going to have a much higher chance of crossing an ent trail as you're going to the next totem. At least if you're going for offerings. Maybe if you have the collection log done, then maybe you would want to save time by using the shortcuts and you don't really care about offerings at that point if you're just going for XP. You may have noticed when I'm doing the loop, I'm going clockwise rather than counterclockwise. And that's because the ents are going counterclockwise. So I want to go against the ents because the ent will immediately use up the buff on the totem you just made, and it basically works out to be better overall. Shout out to Rakupenda for this amazing guide. Very important, I do need to talk about redwood shields because when you fletch these staves, you get 10 XP for fletching them, whereas when you fletch these shields, you get more XP. It does take longer, it's a base 7 ticks, or 6 ticks if you have the knife. You get 216 XP. But it is 6 or 7 ticks without the knife to fletch these versus 2 ticks or 3 ticks without the knife for the redwood staves. However, whether you put a shield or a staff on the totem, it does come out to the same amount of XP, that 725, 726 XP. It's the same whether you use the staff or shield. Let's do some math here. We'll figure out how much XP you get for the shields. In total for fletching, it's 216 plus you get the 725. So for 2 redwood logs making the shield, 941 XP for 2 logs. Let me write that down in the chat box. However, for fletching the staves, you only get the 10 XP, but then you still get the 725 XP when you use it to decorate the totem. But because the shields are 2 logs, to compare it, we'd have to multiply that by 2. So 2 redwood logs will get you 941 XP with shields, or 1470 XP with staves. As an Ironman, because resources are precious, you're most likely going to want to make staves rather than shields. However, for main accounts, it may be a little bit different because you will get slightly better XP rates and you have essentially unlimited supplies as a main account because you could just buy the logs off the GE. And if you do choose to do that as a main, if you're fletching the redwood shields, you'll need 80 logs per trip rather than 40 logs per trip, which means when you're doing totem 1, 2, 3, 4, after you get halfway through to this totem, you're going to want to teleport to the crafting guild or whatever your bank of choice is to restock, and then teleport using the pendant of 8s to get back here and finish up the run before using the bank over here. Because, I mean, if you have to use this bank over here and you have to use the shortcut and you don't have that teleport, it's just completely not worth it. But as a main account, you could just buy dart supplies off the GE and fletch darts as you go, and that's probably going to end up being more XP per hour rather than having to worry about the extra time spent fletching the shields and taking extra time to bank halfway between every run. You can just make darts and get much more XP, or even just doing the method I was talking about before where you fletch the magic longbows unstrung, but then also use the bowstring spool to string them as you go and store up to 100,000 bowstring on it, and even that's probably more XP per hour than doing the redwood shields. So as a main account, you probably don't want to make the redwood shields, and then as an Ironman account, I guess like if you're 200 mil woodcutting and you're really not like, if you're not going to do birdhouse runs anymore and you don't want to use them for AFK bonfires, I guess you could like dump all your redwood logs by making the shields for this activity to get like close to 400k XP per hour rather than the 330k base max XP per hour with the staves. I haven't talked about this mask yet, the Greenman mask, so let's do that. This is a cosmetic reward from this fletching activity. It is purely cosmetic, it has no stats to it whatsoever. This mask does have an option to it. There's a change style option, and you can see there's different types of trees that you can change it to. And to unlock the ability to change it, to whichever type you want, you have to use 300 of that type of leaf on it. And inside my forestry kit, I do have enough leaves for almost all the types. I have it for regular, oak, willow, and yew. I do not have enough maple or magic, but just to show you, let's do this right now. We'll use the regular leaves on there. You cannot get your leaves back, so yes, use that. You get 20 fletching XP. Then we'll use the oak leaves on there, yes. Use the willow leaves on there, confirm, and the yew leaves on there. And I'm not just like changing it back and forth for no reason because it's a permanent unlock. So I can now freely swap between the ones that I've already unlocked. Put the leaves back in here, and I am about to AFK right now, and I figured this would be like the perfect thing to do for AFKing would be getting maple leaves and magic leaves. And the Auburn Vale is really cool because it has like, I think every type of tree. There's plenty of maple trees, there's magic trees, more magic trees, yew trees. I think there's willow trees somewhere around here, but there's no icon for them because they're not considered a rare tree. I was just thinking it'd be kind of cool. I mean, I'm not going to do it because I have a bunch of logs already, but maybe if you're like earlier in your account and you don't have any logs stored up, it could be cool to like chop trees and then make a totem, chop more, and kind of go back and forth rather than banking. You could kind of just like camp here forever and go to different types of trees as you unlock them. Or there's the magic tree here, you know, it's kind of slow to chop. If you could chop magics, build that totem, chop some more, build that totem, and kind of go back and forth. There's probably multiple methods like that all around the area here that you could figure out. It's so cool, man. I love this place. This is like being in a forest and everything is interactable, like a sandbox game. It's kind of sad because I had a lot of maple leaves and magic leaves and leaves of every type in the past, but I've just used them for making rations, so have to get some more now, but it should go by pretty fast. Every time you chop a log, there's a 1 out of 4 chance that you get a leaf to go along with it. I just remembered the woodcutting guild gives an invisible +7 woodcutting boost, so makes more sense to chop here, huh? You can get some leaves from forestry events, and forestry is disabled in the woodcutting guild, so you can't get events in here, but I'm just trying to AFK really hard right now. I don't feel like doing events anyways. With forestry, for each person that's chopping a tree with you, you get an extra +1 invisible boost up to a max of 10, +10 invisible woodcutting with 10 players, but it's a little bit less AFK. I don't like here. I'm not gonna be here chopping for too long anyways. It is time. There it is, 300 maple leaves. So I'm gonna take the mask off, put those on there. You cannot get them back. Yes. 20 fletching XP, huge. Yeah, I've got one more style to unlock, just the magic one. I'm gonna go back to fletching for the rest of tonight, and tomorrow when I need some AFK time, I'll work on the magic leaves. If I'm not gonna do any other kind of multi-skilling, like I'm not doing alking or fletching other kinds of things while I'm going, like the darts or the broad arrows, at the very least, if nothing else, I should at least be doing magic imbue. Wait, and if I'm fletching, will magic imbue interrupt the fletching, or? Oh yeah, it does. Got another fletching level coming in, 103. Ooh, is this stack gonna go to 15k? This will be my first time that I've capped it at, wait, it's over 15k. Oh, it does go higher. Oh, no, it doesn't, wait, it says you should take some of the offerings, okay. So yeah, the cap is 15k, although it can technically go above 15k. Oh, I just saw a message in the chat box. I just did 20 mil fletching XP. I do like that even though the cap is 15k, it can still go a little bit beyond 15k from the ends dropping off the offerings there. You just can't build another totem then. Because it would suck if you went all the way around and you only got 10 offerings if you're at like 14,990. Not that it matters that much because you're only capping out the offerings every like 15 hours of doing the fletching activity, but it's a nice little thing they coded in. Ooh, when I pick up these offerings, the stack is now a white stack over 100,000. And we have 104 fletching. I do think it really was intended for people to do forestry around the Auburn Vale area because, I mean, there is a freaky forester here, which is the forestry shop. Whoa, wait, whoa. Someone's doing a thing here. Varla locked is going up and down across this wall. No way, the new agility meta. I've now gone through about 10k redwood logs in this video, and this is the only fletching XP I've gained. I have not been doing like broad arrows or maple logs or anything. I've just been doing the redwood logs for my fletching XP, and 10k logs got me about 7.7 mil XP. And that checks out because I did do the math and I figured out with the totems, if you do step on the entrails, it comes out to about 792 XP per log doing this fletching activity. Or if you don't step on the entrail, then building a totem will net you about 765 XP per redwood log. And the fact I got 7.75 mil XP, that's kind of like right in between them, so that checks out. I haven't even thought to do this until now, but we could do the math on how many redwood logs I would use per hour. If we're saying like a very chill 300k XP per hour and it's like 775 XP per log, that means I'm going through like 387, so a bit under, or maybe around 400 redwood logs per hour, which means I've already spent 25 hours doing this. You know what they say, a fletching level a day keeps the XP monster away. I don't know. Well, it looks like Heckhoundor is starting a new video or something because she's going to be doing the fletching activity with me for a little while. I was thinking, you know what? Maybe rank 1, at least team rank 1, might just be on the menu because even as of right now, we're currently rank 3 as a team and we're like 6 to 7 mil XP off, so I think it's on the menu for this video. I don't know about rank 1 individual. I'm still like quite a bit off of that, but yeah, we'll see, we'll see. Wait. I want to be in the video. Yeah, now, now we're all going to be in the video. I know she absolutely hates this. It is time. After a few hours of chopping magics, I now have the 300 magic leaves required to do the recolor for the mask. So let's use the magic leaves on that. And yes, the magic recolor has been unlocked. Sick. And I can now freely swap between all the styles. I've done a completionist thing. I was kind of curious. I want to test this out. Can I use leaves on there even though I've already unlocked it? Like, what happens? Okay. Besides for just being a cosmetic equipable item, the Greenman mask does have another use, or two uses. You can use it to build two things in the POH. You can build a Greenman statue and a Greenman carving. And here's what they look like. Here is the statue. You can put that in one of the gardens, or the carving they can put into a combat room, dining room, or throne room. Requires one construction and gives no XP when built. So even for the POH, it is completely cosmetic and gives you no boosts or bonuses or XP. The mask is also storable in the POH. Whoa, looks like it's going to be 2 levels in one day, except it's 1 a.m. so it is technically 1 level per day still. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got 1 level when I woke up and now 1 level right before I'm going to bed. Wait, what if the dogs interacted? Are they going to play with each other? Come on. Kiss or do something cool. Okay, this will be it right here. Our next one. Another virtual fletching level, 107. My daily fletching level out of the way. Spookdog saved up like 50 or 60k offerings, just opened them all up, and she did complete the collection log. Although just like me, she also had to buy the fletching knife with the research points at the end. But she just got the collection log done, but she said she is still going to do a little bit more of the fletching activity because she wants to get the 6 spools. She only got 4 of the spools from her opening. Also, at this point, I have decided that I am going to be going for rank 1. Actually, we're going to be going for rank 1 as a team, and I will be going for rank 1 as individual duo GIM. I think I showed before, it's 29.1 mil fletching XP, so I'm like 1 hour, not even 1 hour away from getting to rank 1. And then for the team, I think we're getting very close as a team as well, like probably just another hour or two of both of us doing this. Spookdog's doing it right now still. Yeah, we're gonna be rank 1 for both, but probably maybe spend like at least one more day doing this. I don't want to have like barely at rank 1. I would like to have a little bit of extra buffer room ahead, so I'll get to like at least 30 mil fletching XP. Pretty solid day of fletching. I think the biggest XP day so far was almost 3.2 mil fletching XP. And, you know, of course, a little bit of construction, magic XP as well. Overall XP for today, or total XP from all the skills today, was 3.6 mil. Is that going to be it? Yeah, 30 mil fletching XP. Yeah, I guess I've, like, done all the fletching I wanted to do. Maybe I'll just, like, chill for a little bit longer and figure out exactly what's next, but 30 mil, man. Wow. I just did my last round of Vale Totems. I picked up all the Vale Offerings, and here is what I saved up. I did do the opening pretty early on to finish the collection log, but since then I've just been saving them up, and I now have over 400k stacked in the bank. I opened over 40k them prior, so in total I've gotten like 450k Vale Offerings. Actually, before I open them, I think you can get clues from them, so let me knock out all these clues first. I have gained over 15 million Fletching XP in this video, and at about 300k XP per hour. That's over 50 hours spent doing Vale Totems. And just to confirm it on Temple, without even having logged off yet, you can see right here as Duo GIM individual player, I am rank 1, and as a team, we are also rank 1. I'm pretty sure Spook Dog was basically at 99 Fletching, which is 13 mil XP, so she's also gained like 2.4 mil XP so far. I don't know how much longer she's gonna be doing this, but this is the end for me, at least. With that said, I will get to opening the Vale Offerings, and I am still going to be opening them one at a time because it's not tracking if you open 5 at a time currently. So this is going to take a while. I could like spam click 1 per tick to have it show up, because by default I think it opens every 2 ticks, but I don't care. I have a little bit of stuff to edit anyways. Here's my 5th bowstring spool. It's 6 bowstring spools that you need total, so just have one more thing to show. There it is, the 6th and final spool needed. I will have nothing else to show. Even if I get more uniques, it's all dupes at this point. I mean, this was the dupe too, but you need 6 of them, so I will have nothing else to show until I'm done opening all 400k plus of these offerings. And that's it. That's the last one. Here is a look at the loot tracker. About 450k Vale Offerings worth of loot right here. That is 15 mil worth of loot, but it would actually be more because when you open up the nests, you would then get more seeds that would be worth quite a lot more, I'm sure. But even just going by 15 mil for 50 hours, that's 300k GP per hour. If you want to figure out how many of each of these items you would average per hour, just divide the number by 50. For example, the limpworts, divide that by 50, that would be about 3 limpwort seeds per hour. Or for the egg nests, this comes out to 44 nests that I got from this, so it's about 1 egg nest per hour. And the clues, dude, it was a lot of beginner clues. Every time I get like 4 beginner clues stacked up, I would leave to go and do them. If there weren't stackable clues in the game, I don't think I would have done them, but it's kind of nice having 4 to 5 of them at a time and leaving to go do a bunch at once. I have 26,000 dirty arrow tips to clean. When you clean them, you get normal arrow tips that you can use for fletching. And the variety of arrow tips that you get, it's dependent based on your fletching level. So you can see for the different level ranges what types or what the rarity would be for each type of arrow tip. So with level 99 or 90 plus where I'm at, this is what you would expect. About 1 out of 9 of them are going to end up being dragon arrow tips. I think when I click on it, it's going to clean them all at once. So let's go ahead, click. Oh no, it doesn't do, oh, I see. It doesn't do them all at once. So I have to spam click. It's opening up 50 at a time. So you could, oh my god, that is going to add a lot of GP onto this value here. Yeah, because this GP value is not reflected in the Vale Offerings value here, so you could add this on as well. I would not be surprised at all if in the future they add a clean all option to these, but I'm just gonna use the mouse keys real quick to spam open all of them. When I spam these, they are reflected still in the loot tracker, which is pretty cool. And there we have it. As another, as like more than half the value of the Vale Offerings loot. Another 8.6 mil. The bulk of the value comes from the dragon arrow tips, which are worth almost 6 mil, almost 3k dragon arrow tips. Divide any of these numbers by 50 to figure out the amount of expected arrow tips per hour if you're 90 plus fletching. Let's take a look at the uniques now. As you can see by the group chat, there's a lot of fletching knives, and here's what the collection log now looks like. 11 knives, 16 spools. I guess the end branches cap out at 250 for the collection log, and then 10 greenman masks. Maybe all 4 of these cap out at 250 in the collection log. Who's going to be the first one to find out? There's also all the Vale research points that I got along with it, which I can use to buy stuff from the shop. I have over 4,000 of them, so I could buy stuff, but there's nothing that I need from here anyways. And you can sell stuff back to the shop as well. You can see if I sell the bowstring spool, it's 125 points. The knife you could sell for 175. The end branches you cannot sell. And then the greenman mask is interesting. I can sell this for 125 points. It says only ironmen are able to sell greenman masks to the store, and I wasn't sure if that would count for group ironmen, but it looks like Group Ironman are included as Ironman here, since I do have the option to sell it back. I haven't talked about the Ent branches yet, so let's do that now. The Ent branches, they're one of the items that you need to make Atlatl darts, because before this update, the only way to get Atlatl darts was by doing the Moons of Peril minigame. And as an Ironman, especially after you greenlog it, it would feel pretty bad going back there just to go for the darts. So now there's a way you can fletch them yourself. The Ent branch is one of the items. You get 100 shafts for each branch. You basically need these Atlatl dart shafts, feathers, and then Atlatl dart tips is the other item that you need to finish them off, which you get from broken antlers. Broken antlers you break down for 100 dart tips each, just like how you get 100 shafts from the Ent branches. And these antlers are from the new monster, the Custodian Stalkers in the Stalker Den. There's the drop rates for them, but I don't plan to make any Atlatl darts because I don't use the Atlatl and I still have a ton of them in the bank. And here's the only other unique from Vale Totems I haven't talked about, the bowstring spool. You can use a ton of bowstring on the spool to store the bowstring in the spool, and you'll be able to string 27 bows per inventory instead of the 14-14 combo that you had to do before, because this is like a stackable bowstring item essentially. And the capacity, this is why I was saying before I have to get 6 of them. It's because the more spools that you have, the higher you can increase the capacity up to, with 6 of them, you get 100,000 bowstrings that you can store in that one item. And if you're spinning flax with the spool in your inventory, it will automatically put the created bowstring right into the spool. And I haven't done this yet, so let's do it right now. Do I just use it on another one? Cool. Use another one. You can see the capacity being increased. There's 5,000, 10,000, and 100,000. That's crazy. What happens if I try to use another one on there? Because we're at the limit now, so the spool can't be made any bigger. Unfortunately, I'm not even able to fill the bowstring spool because I don't have 100k, but we'll make do with what I have right here. Let's use that on there. That's it. Check it. Has 99,993 out of 100k, and then I could do empty. You could choose to empty as notes. Oh, and you could choose how much of a note or how many noted you want to take out, or you can choose to empty as the strings. Take all, put them back in. Cool. You're only able to empty out as notes when you're next to a bank, and then same thing for depositing notes in. So if I step away from the bank, I can't deposit the notes unless I'm next to a bank. However, I can withdraw strings away from a bank, and I can deposit strings while I'm away from a bank. I haven't tried this yet, but I heard this is supposed to work. Using the spin flax spell, will that automatically put it into the bowstring spool, just like spinning flax on a wheel should? Let's see. Wow, that is awesome. And this opens up some very interesting use cases with the spin flax spell and the bowstring spool because of this item. The Bale of Flax. The Bale of Flax is stackable, which is really what makes this all possible. And the Bale of Flax, you can open this anywhere. You don't have to be next to a bank. It gives you 25 unnoted flax. And if you have the spin flax spell, then you're able to do other activities. You don't have to bank stand, and you can still get magic and crafting XP. However, you are very limited in what activities you can do because of the fact you have to have 25 open inventory slots to open a Bale of Flax. You can't like open it partially. You have to have all 25 empty inventory spaces, which means if you have the Bale of Flax, your runes, and the bowstring spool, you can't have any other items required for whatever activity you're doing. So the main thing that comes to mind is doing agility rooftop courses, because you could just come back later to pick up the marks of grace, especially doing arty rooftops. But I can't think of any other thing. So if you guys have any other ideas besides running rooftop agility, let me know what other activities to do this with. It has to be an activity where you don't have anything or need anything in your inventory for it, though. Can you use the spin flax spell in pest control? Probably not, right? Because for high alch, you can't use high alch in the minigame. You could only do it while you're in the lander, the lobby thing, while you're waiting for it to fill up. So I assume spin flax is probably the same way. So maybe you could like do it in the lander, but then you'd be sacrificing not having good gear since you couldn't bring anything else with you. I don't think the main intended use was meant to be for the spin flax spell. I think it's more so Jagex wants to let people just stay at a spinning wheel and just like click, spin for a while, click again, spin for a while, and you never have to bank, or you only have to bank every 100,000 bowstring, so you could just like stay at a spinning wheel forever. Yeah, I don't know, it'd be cool if someday maybe if they added like a bale option where you could turn your flax into bales. That'd be very interesting. Or if they allowed you to do a withdraw X option from the bale flax. But yeah, there is an unpack option, so I'd recommend not doing that, especially on an Ironman, because there's some use cases for these bales of flax and you don't want to turn it into regular flax. And by the way, if you were wondering how I got all this flax, it's pretty much all from Zora. I do want to show you a little bit of math that I was doing while I was opening up the Vale Offerings. This is related to like XP per hour and loot per hour, and this is going by the assumption that you are earning 8,000 Vale Offerings per hour. That's what I was getting with the redwood logs. I was using up about 400 redwood logs per hour. And besides for the 300k fletching XP per hour, there is a little bit more hidden sort of XP per hour that you get, which is, well, I showed the construction already. It's the like 8,000 construction XP per hour. But there's also two other skills, crafting XP and prayer XP. Because the bales of flax, I would almost consider that to be 0 time crafting XP, because at the very least, you can get this XP while you're doing agility and not miss out on any agility XP. So it's like basically 0 time crafting XP. Granted, I know rooftop courses aren't the meta to do like Sepulchre, so you're like losing XP by doing rooftops. But if you're someone that does rooftop agility, then you're getting like a free extra 20k crafting XP per hour for every hour that you do Vale Totems. And then for prayer XP as well, it's not 0 time prayer XP necessarily, but because of how fast you use up bone shards, I mean, it's pretty fast prayer XP, so you get an extra like 2,800 prayer XP per hour. Additionally, there's some other noteworthy loot I want to point out, which is the dirty arrow tips. You get 464 per hour on average, which is 51 dragon arrow tips per hour. You get 400 anima bark on average per hour, which if you turn those into sawmill vouchers, that would come out to 266 mahogany planks or whatever kind of plank. 266 extra mahogany planks per hour, I guess you could say. You get 13 ent branches on average per hour, which is 1,300 at Atlatl dart shafts. And then the 80 research points from the 8,000 offerings is 4 ent branches per hour on top of this amount of ent branches. There's also the uniques that you get, which you could turn in for even more research points, but I'm not going to do all the math to figure out the expected uniques per hour. I was just thinking, it's been a while since I've done Sepulchre, but you don't technically need items for Sepulchre, do you? You could do this during Sepulchre, right? With an empty inventory, you don't need anything else. Because I made a bit more bowstring in this video, I'm sure that some of you will be very happy to see that my stack of bowstring is now going to be over 100,000, except it won't be because I'm putting that back in the spool. I showed the fletching XP already that I gained over 15 mil XP, and then let's take a look at the construction XP. How much passive construction XP did I get from doing Vale Totems for these 50 hours? Was it's pretty bad for 50 hours, but I mean, considering it's like just free extra XP, I mean, I'll take the almost 400k extra XP. And then I started doing the magic imbue, not at the start, I don't know if it was like halfway through or something, but how much magic XP did I gain in this video? It was, okay, pretty close to construction. It was definitely more magic XP per hour, but I didn't start until quite a bit later on. So yeah, besides for just the fletching XP, you can also expect a little bit of XP per hour and other skills. And it's not even like just banking XP, it really is like gaining passive XP because of how it's like almost 0 time to use up this banked XP that you get from the activity. I was getting maybe 12k magic XP per hour using magic imbue, but if you're doing high elk, you could definitely get it well beyond that. I forgot to mention that before this update, Ironman would usually make broad arrows to 99 fletching, which I think was like 5.5 to 6 GP per XP, which does come out to way more XP per hour if you're multi-skilling making the broad arrows compared to Vale Totems. It's effectively 1.5 mil fletching XP per hour, but doing Vale Totems getting 300k XP per hour, you are saving about 1.5 to 2 mil GP per hour if your other option would be broad arrows. All these Greenman masks you can store in the magic wardrobe in the POH. And can you store multiple or different types, or do they all have to? Okay, I guess they all have to be the same type. I'll change it back to the regular one so I can store all these. Can I deposit all? What? Okay. The fletching knife is also storable, but I actually need to keep that in my bank since I use knives as an actual tool for utility, so I'm not going to be storing them in there. All these seeds I'm going to put into the seed vault. This can be stored inside the forestry kit, and then I'm going to dump all these roots into the group storage. I don't know if/what we're ever going to do with them, but That's what the group storage is for, right? Just dump things in there and forget about them forever. I know you can use magic roots to make antidote plus pluses, but we have already basically an unlimited supply from Zora, so we don't need to make any more, and the process is kind of annoying to make them. I also just found out that you can use the U roots to make antidote plus. I guess I never thought about that. Like, it makes sense there's an antidote plus potion in the game, but genuinely, have any of you actually seen this item in game before or seen anyone use them? There's nothing that even drops them, right? Or maybe, yeah, I don't know, that's weird. Such a weird item. After all this, I still have 181k redwood logs, so I went through about 20k in this video. I think I finally said everything that I've been wanting to say, everything that's been stewing in my head over the last few days or last week as I've been doing this. If I did forget to mention something, well, I could always add it in later somehow, some way. But yeah, with all that said, you can check out my duo teammate Spootdog's half of the progress. I'll have her most recent GIM video linked below in the video description. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you again next time.